Hey, what's up, everybody? I am in a new location for a few weeks here, and this is Conversations in Pop Culture, where I have with me the Gateway Heritage Champion, Jeremy Wyatt. So, thank you for being on.
Yep. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I am super excited. I've been wanting to interview you since your match with Nick Gage back in January on my birthday of all time.
Oh,
So
cool.
that was wonderful to watch that. Slightly intoxicated, might I add. But we're not going to talk about that directly because there's a lot going on with you towards the end of this week. You have an Iron Man match with Fred Yehi, as well as a few other things that are going on. And one of the things that I want to talk about before we get to that match is in the last 2 years as the Gateway Heritage Champion, you have been really elevating that title. And you have a very interesting way of doing it through your pure wrestling rules. So I think that's the best place to start. So what are those rules? Even though you explain them every time you wrestle, every time.
Yeah, it's just Ring of Honor used to have the pure wrestling title, and it went away. They're trying to bring it back now, which is funny given we've been doing the pure rules for a couple years. And I had a match with Jonathan Gresham real early in the title reign, and I think that probably got some wheels turning. But pure wrestling rules is it's you get 3 rope breaks. So if you exhaust all 3 rope breaks, if I were to pin you in the ropes, have you in a submission, the ropes don't save you after 3. No closed fist. Um, it's an automatic disqualification. And then lastly, it's been so long since I've had a match. Lastly, the it's a 20 count on the outside as opposed to most places are 10 for countouts. But the big caveat is you can lose the championship by countout or disqualification. So I mean, it really is pure wrestling rules, and try to do something a little bit different. I mean, it's what's old is new kind of deal because I mean, obviously this idea has been used before, but I enjoy the technical aspect of wrestling, so it's kind of fits me pretty well.
Yeah, and to talk about this because I think the pure wrestling rules really add a different element to the matches where we do see that more technical aspect. We see more strategy come into matches because forcing somebody to use their rope breaks very efficiently early on plays on longer because the rope now doesn't save you or forcing somebody to do something. So, what is that like for you going into it, as well as for your opponents to have to conform to that? And really, we see that technical side saying, okay, how do I put somebody in a submission holder? How do I get them to hit me with a closed fist type of deal? Because it changes the
Yeah, no, I
story
mean,
in many ways.
yeah, I mean that's the whole thing with like what makes it fun is because I mean you can tell so many different stories within the context of those rules. Uh, like the I've employed the strategy against guys who are more strikers, not so much profound at technical wrestling where like I try to lock them up in a pretzel, not so much to beat them but just so much to get them to waste those rope breaks because it's one of those things where if you're not used to it, it's kind of like you could burn through 2 of them within 2-3 minutes of the opening part of the match, and then you got one left, and you're just like, oh man, whoa, I'm screwed, So it's fun to play with, and you can just I don't know, it's just a way to be creative. I like being creative as far as story. Like I don't care about moves per se. I care more so about just telling like a interesting, cool story, and it allows those rules allow that like very much. So
And to even talk about some of those matches, because I think it's going to explain this even further. You mentioned Jonathan Gresham. Jonathan Gresham is very much a submission guy, and he's
yeah.
very much technical in that realm. And the rules apply to you, they apply to your challenger. And what was that like? 'Cause that was an early title defense, and Jonathan Gresham is amazing as a technical wrestler. And then even in this match, what was that like going up against him and having that in play and running through rope breaks to
Oh, that
celebrate?
it was. I mean, I think that was my second or third defense overall. So, I mean, this is it started in October of 2018. This match was November of 2018. It's the first time we ever wrestled each other. He's a dude I'd wanted to wrestle for a real long time because I like to test myself against guys that are very technically proficient. And Jonathan Gresham is one of the best, just pure wrestlers on the planet, in my opinion. And we had a great match. I mean, it was outstanding. We both burned through our rope breaks. We both did a couple creative things to make the other guy lose rope breaks, and the match, I don't know, it's about 30 minutes long. It's on YouTube, so I mean, if people want to check it out, Jeremy Wyatt versus Jonathan Gresham, it's one of my favorite matches, definitely of my title defenses so far. It's just a great match. I mean, crowd was hot. Just good time, just real good time.
And then talking about sort of the opposite of a powerhouse, you also got to face AJ Gray in a title defense. And AJ
Yeah.
Gray is just a jacked up guy, and he's really good as well. But what was that like, having that different, I guess, approach is what I would call it?
Uh, with with him, I mean, it was another. I mean, AJ Gray was really solid, really good worker. It was a little bit different, the match, more so just because, I mean, he probably legitimately outweighs me by, 60, 70 pounds, probably at least. So more so, instead of trying to exchange holds with him, because I mean, he's bigger, stronger than me, kind of just chuck me off of him. It was more so just trying to use his own momentum against him, kind of duck and dive, dodge a little bit, and and then wrap him up with things off of just kind of using his own momentum to my advantage. So it's just like it's using the same rules, but just a different way of going about it.
Yeah, and then to get into some of St. Louis Anarchy and those title defenses, one of the guys that you faced twice was Jake Parnell, who's now in Warhorse. And obviously, Jake Parnell is one of the, I guess, four pillars of St. Louis Anarchy. And that guy has just gotten better and better and better from when he first started. And what is that like to wrestle him and see his evolution, as well as knowing that he has that clout in St. Louis? Because in many ways, to beat him and then face him twice, it kind of reaffirms your title reign and makes you as a serious competitor in that locker room to some degree.
Yeah, I mean, Jake's definitely come a long way. I mean, he's a dude who sleeps, drinks, eats wrestling. I mean, the guy, I mean, if you follow him on Twitter, he's just constantly churning out content. Um, I think he's found his,
True
kind of
calling.
found his niche.
True calling.
He's went through a couple different little, incarnations of being Jake Parnell, and then he's found, you know, he's found his voice with this Warhorse character, and he's gotten better in the ring. I mean, he's never been, a slouch by any means, but I think he's gotten more confidence as far as character goes. So it's translated to his in ring stuff, and we've had a couple of matches during my reign, and both of them were completely different, but I enjoyed both of them a lot. I mean, the we had one in July of last year at their big Circus Maximus show, and I really like that match. It, it, the crowd was super hot. 99% of the people in that place thought they were going to see a new champion that night. So one of my favorite things is when I pin him is the camera's on one side, and literally everyone's standing up against the ring, and you can just see all these faces. They're just like, and I'm like, that's wrestling, man. That's like, you think you're getting something and you don't get it, but then like, sometimes you have to give fans what they want. But the thing is, they came back the next month to see me lose. They came back after that, so eventually, I mean, well, I would like to think I'm never losing the title, but eventually maybe they'll get paid off for all the hopes and dreams of me losing that title. But I'll screw them as long as I can.
Yeah, to talk about that, because you definitely are a bad guy. The crowd boos you You don't come out, you get heat like that. So what is that like, especially because you read the rules and you take it away from the ref every time you come out just to give people who've never seen you an idea of who you are. And you put on amazing wrestling matches and you're beyond skillful in the ring and you're a great wrestler and you draw heat like a lightning rod. So what is that like, and what is that like to feed off of it? Because I would imagine it's amazing to deprive. And I'm a fan who appreciates you as a wrestler, but also boos you too to some degree.
Yeah, no, I enjoy being a jerk. I mean, it's to me, a lot of people don't want to be a heel, man. They either want to be a babyface or they want to be that like shaded gray cool guy because they want to sell T-shirts. I mean, yeah, merch money's fine and all, but like, I want you to hate my guts. Like, I don't. I'd rather you hate my guts than buy my T-shirt. Like, I mean, like I said, hey, I'll take your money if you want to buy my shirt, but I'm not out there like I'm not there like I'm a bad guy. Wink, wink. Like me, buy my shirt. No, I want you to hate my guts, and I want you to want me to lose. And with Anarchy, like the idea is anarchy, and I'm the guy that has rules to my matches. So I mean, right there, like people are gonna dislike me, and it's anything goes. Pretty much at Anarchy, except for me. So I'm like, hey man, screw you guys, screw your no rules. Here are my rules, and then so it's fun all around. It works out really well.
But even to talk about you being the bad guy, there are a series of matches, in my opinion, that you put people over and that you made things work, even though they lost those matches. And one of those was with Larry D. And to some degree, I think that you're part of the reason why he got a contract with Impact. Because the matches that the two of you had and the promos you cut on each other were amazing. And what was that entire thing? Because Larry D's finisher for your title is the exact antithesis of pure wrestling rules. And that match was a wild match when he hit you twice with the closed fists and he had like the two rope breaks taken away from him and all that stuff. So what was that like to really wrestle him and put him over? Because in many ways you did. And it's a very, very cool moment from a wrestling psychological point.
I mean, uh, I think that I am. I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I just think I'm a very unselfish wrestler. Um, even when I'm winning the match, man, I try to do everything I can to make it look like I am going to lose and make that guy look as good as possible. Like I don't care about looking good, like if I'm winning the match, like it doesn't matter. Like it's the more credible the guys that I face look, the more it builds me and builds that championship up. So when someone does maybe beat me, hopefully not, because I want to hold it forever. But if someone were to beat me for that title, I hope I've put enough into it that it makes them like instantly a big deal to have that championship. So I mean, I don't, like I said, man, I don't care about moves. I could go a whole match without hitting one move if the story dictates me just getting the shit kicked out of me for 25 minutes and then like the dude slipping on a banana pill. I just want to make the dude that I'm facing look as great as possible. And, me doing what I do, I'll take care of myself is the way I look at it.
And I can't not help but mention him as well, but Thomas Shire was also in that category with you, where that guy was breaking out and has broken out of St. Louis and was on track this year to really probably have an amazing run. And I really hope he gets it. And your match with him made him look like a superstar. And much credit to you on that because it was necessary and he looked fantastic. And it wasn't just him who was looking fantastic and making that happen. You did that in a very cool way.
Well, I mean, I appreciate it. I mean, like I said, that's the goal. Like if I always think if I just do what I do, I'll be fine. I just want to make the guy I'm facing look as credible and as good and as big and as much of a star as possible. It's just, I wish, I don't know, that's just the way I think wrestling should be. Like, oftentimes I feel like guys just go out and do moves for the sake of doing moves. And like everyone's like, oh, that match was awesome. I don't remember one thing that happened, like, and that's not to like disparage what people do. That's just the way I look at wrestling. I want people to know, like, oh man, like you were saying, Shire looked like a star in that match. It's not like, oh, Shire did this move, Shire did this move. What else happened? Oh, I don't remember. Nothing, nothing of substance. So it's just the way I look at wrestling. It's just different than a lot of people seem to anymore. So.
And the fun thing about St. Louis Anarchy is that they do bring in occasionally people from all over to wrestle there. And one of
Yep.
your title defenses was against Shotzi Blackheart. And I don't know if she might be one, or there might only been another woman who got the challenge for the Gateway Heritage Championship throughout its entire history. But obviously, Shotzi is amazing in everything she does, and she can. It's not the question of what she can and can't do; it's what she can and can do. So, what was that like? Because Shotzi is a huge star, is only becoming bigger, and Shotzi has some balls on her.
Yeah, no, that was a fun match. It is my first and only intergender match, and it's the only match that I've defended the Gateway Heritage Championship against a woman. So like the story with that was I was I'm a smug prick and I'm a man, like woman. It was one of those things. I mean, people, probably would get pissed off because I was just like, hey, the world was better when women were in the kitchen. But it's a promo to piss people off. You know what I mean? So like, there's, obviously, this isn't 1950 anymore. But the idea was just like to get people super pissed off at me, and they did. And we had a really good match, like a really fun match, and obviously she's really good, and she's where she's at for a reason. So.
And what is that like, though, that St. Louis trusts you enough to bring in somebody who is on that trajectory and is pretty much going to be in NXT or in a major company, and trusted you and her enough to be fighting for this championship and put that faith in you? Because that's a big, I guess, accolade to who you are and being able to handle it and to make sure that the fans are happy with it as well.
I mean, I don't know. When I face people, I don't really think of like, oh, this person's this person, or they've wrestled here, they're gonna, because I don't know. I think I'm really good at wrestling and just as good as anybody else. So I just like look at it like, oh, okay, this me and this person's gonna have a match and it's gonna be good, hopefully. Uh, but it's nice that they book me in positions to face, notable people who have, like name value or whatever. I mean, that's cool. I mean, I enjoy it, and hopefully, they continue to do it. Like, because I imagine if they stop all of a sudden, then that means maybe I need to stop because maybe I'm losing it or something. But, I mean, it's cool. But I was just, I don't, it could be Kurt Angle across from me, or it could be, Warhorse or whoever. It's just like, well, this is who I'm wrestling, so let's do it.
And talking about name value, the next two matches that we're going to talk about were wars. And I think you know the two matches that I'm talking about. Your 60-man draw match with Gary J. Let's start with that one because that was a fight. And the fact that the two of you went for 60 minutes, and I don't think people understand how long 60 minutes actually is in a wrestling match.
Oh,
It's a
it is
long
long.
fucking time. It's a long fucking time. And so, what was that like with any wrestler, I should add, let alone with Gary J? Because Gary J hits the hardest. Gary J was actually on the first episode of this show and was on another show of mine. And so, Gary J hits hard, everybody. So, what was that like? And what was it like? Because Gary J just doesn't die. He just doesn't die.
Yeah, it's fun. Like to be able to have an hour long match on a Thursday night in a bar in front of a bar crowd, and for them to stay with it the whole time and be, I mean, there was a couple things we did 50 plus minutes in where they lost their minds, and it's just like, yeah, this is, that's when you're like you're doing something really cool, because we live like in the short attention span world now, and to just be able to keep that attention for that long. And I've wrestled Gary quite a few times over the years, and we've always had really good solid matches, but that one was that's the top tier one that we've had thus far. And I was really proud of the match, just for the reasons I said, just to be able to. And yes, Gary hits hard. So Gary does hit hard. That's not a gimmick. Gary hits hard.
And so even just to blow people's minds away and have people be invested in that for 50 minutes and 60 minutes, what does that mean for you in today's wrestling world where everything, I think the attention span of people 7 seconds in an action movie. And what I'm finding in the wrestling world, and I don't know if you find this, is that when we're watching 20, 30-minute matches, especially on the indie scene, people definitely are invested in that stuff versus WWE and AEW and Impact. And so what is that like for you, especially on the indie scene where people seem to be more invested?
I mean, I think when a lot of the same people see you over and over, and month after month or week after week or whatever it is, and they see kind of the whole trajectory of like your story, like with me, the title reign. I think it's easy for people, because I mean, any match it could be like, is this the one he's going to lose? Is this the one? So, um, I just think, like promotions, Journey, St. Louis Anarchy, because that belt goes back and forth. And I think, just the whole story of the title being defended in both places, I just think it grabs a little extra attention because, I mean, there's no guarantee I'm going to lose it in Spalding Hall. I could lose it in Kansas City, Kansas on the Journey show. So I think just people kind of pay a little more attention to it to catch the news, to see like, oh, did he win last night? Did he lose last night? Is there a new champ? That kind of thing. So, but I mean, I just think it means everyone's doing a good job. The storylines are good. The matches are good. The guys in the ring are delivering. So,
And speaking about stories, and one of the last title reigns, or the last title reign I want to talk about, or last title match, I should say, can't speak today apparently, is, I already mentioned it, and it was with Nick Gage. And that was a story that kind of started in a promo where Nick Gage showed up one day in St. Louis Anarchy, demanded a match, and then a few months later, you guys had your match, but it wasn't under pure wrestling rules. It was under Nick Gage's rules, which means anything can go. And you came out with Nick Gage sucks eggs on your shirt, which might not have been the best idea.
that's a great idea. It's a great idea. Got under his skin right from the get go. But yeah, the story to that was cool too because Nick Gage came into St. Louis Anarchy. I think it was in March of 2019. He beats Gary J. He comes back in September of 2019. He beats Warhorse. And then, he calls me out and basically is like, this place is called Anarchy and you got a champion that goes by these rules. He's a punk, blah, blah, blah. And so it just got to the point where people were like, oh, Wyatt can only win matches with his rules. And my idea was like, Nick Gage doesn't have a prayer against with pure rules. Like he'd be DQ'd in 10 seconds. So I was like, I'm gonna shut these people up. And I'm gonna beat him at his own game. And then, like I pulled out every dirty trick in the book and beat him at his own game. Powder in his face, handcuffs, and a pile driver on a chair. 1, 2, 3.
So what was that like? Because I don't think anybody expected you to go that route. And I don't think anybody really said, oh my God, this is how this is going to end. This is going to be a Nick Gage street fight, and this is going to be anarchy. And I think you proved a lot of people wrong on what you can do in that match. And so what is that like for you?
I mean, it's cool in a way because I mean I stick mostly with technical wrestling and I have for quite a while. But the thing is if I wanted those rules to be street fight or no DQ, like I think I would be doing just as well. I mean, I used to have. I mean, years ago, I was in gimmick matches all the time, like bloody, violent gimmick matches. It's like just because I'm trading, headlocks and wrist locks, don't mean I can't kick some ass. So, I think it just showed. I don't want to do those matches all the time, but if I need to, I can.
Do you think that because you wrestle technically all the time and that you have these pure wrestling rules that when you do a gimmick match like this, that it actually is specialer, for lack of a better
Oh,
word, and that it kind of raises the standard and it has that shock value? Because I could tell you that when I was watching that match, I was like, oh shit, this is going to be a great match. Not saying the Warhorse match and the Gary J matches weren't fantastic too, but I was like, this is special. Like, this is something I have to watch.
oh, yeah, man, absolutely. That's a big reason why I don't want to do them all the time because when I do stuff like that, I want it to stand out as opposed to, I mean, if I did that stuff all the time, then I don't know, it just becomes, to me. So I want, when I step out of, what people think is my comfort zone, I want it to be like a big deal. I want it to feel special. And the thing, like I said, I've had enough matches like that in the past. I can handle myself in those. I just, like I said, I would rather lock in a submission as opposed to get hit with a chair. I mean, getting hit with a chair, it sucks. It doesn't feel good. But if I have to, then so be it.
And the ending to that match after you left the ring was fantastic. I'm just gonna say that. When Nick Gage goes on a tantrum, just leave the ring, everybody. That's all I'm gonna say. But having said that, I do now want to back out of St. Louis Anarchy because obviously COVID-19 kind of wrecked everything from pretty much the middle of February up to about now, and it's probably going to affect people for the next 2 months anyway. And I think St. Louis is sort of starting to come back anarchy, and there's works and discussions about that. But you have an event going on later this week on the 27th at 8 p.m. on Twitch. I don't know Central Time, right, or is it Eastern Time?
Central, 8:30 Central.
And that's on Twitch. And so I figured let's talk about that because just give everybody a little preview. It's a 60-man bragging rights Iron Man match with Fred Yehi. 60 minutes, everybody. That's a long time. And so where did this idea come from? So let's start there.
Pretty much like I was just with everything going on, man. Just the world is kind of crazy right now, and I'd seen quite a few people set up things to donate, T-shirt sales to different charities, different causes, and and I think that's all super cool and great. And I was just like, well, I wonder what I could do, uh, just to do something different, maybe to like raise some money for charity. And I just was like, oh, yeah, 60-minute Ironman match. So, I mean, this all came together really, really quick. I pitched the idea to Walter, who runs Journey Pro, and then Matt Jackson, who runs St. Louis Anarchy, 2 weeks ago, maybe 15, 16 days ago. And they were like, oh, man, that sounds awesome. And so, I mean, it came together really, really fast. And then they got a hold of Fred to see if he was interested in doing it. And he's on board. And so, this Saturday, 8:30 Central, it'll be on twitch.tv/Journey Pro and also on youtube.com/St. Louis Anarchy. Me and Fred Yehi are going to wrestle for an hour. So it's no championships on the line. It's just bragging rights. Whoever gets the most falls in 60 minutes is the winner that night. And hopefully we raise some money for charity. I mean, that's the thing. It's free to watch. But hopefully people choose to donate. And Fred and I will split and give to charitable causes of our choice.
So, not to put you on the spot, but do you have a charity in mind that you're planning to donate to, or is that undetermined at the moment?
I am going to go with RBI, which is Reviving Baseball in the Inner Cities. It's associated with Major League Baseball. it's just I think team sports is like really important for kids, and it's for you know underserved, underprivileged kids. But I just there's so much there's a thousand reasons why I'm picking that one. I've like I played little league baseball. I'm still friends with a guy that was on my 9-year-old little league baseball team. I just team sports. I think it's especially for kids that are underprivileged, live in poor neighborhoods and don't have like just the best life. Gives them an opportunity to, have something to look forward to, make friendships, maybe keep out of trouble, like build camaraderie, learn about competition. I mean, there's like literally a million reasons why. Like I just think team sports are really important. Plus, I mean, I love baseball, and also like a little. I mean, a few people know this. I mean, it really has nothing to do with picking this charity, but like my Monarch moniker is taken from the Kansas City Monarchs Negro League baseball team. So like the whole everything kind of ties in together on this. So that's the one I'm going with. I'm not 100% sure what Fred's going with. I think someone said that he was picking something to do with mental health as far as like people having problems during quarantine. Because I mean, a lot of people have had trouble with like dealing with just the extra being locked up this amount of time is I could imagine if you're already having troubles, this just would perpetuate that even more. So.
And to back out of the charity thing for a second to talk about this match so people can watch it, what is that like for you to be getting back in a ring for the first time in almost 4 months on both a physical level and a mental level?
Probably
Because
not the brightest idea.
yeah, I have to ask this because it's clearly kind of a big move to go from, hey, let's get back into a ring and let's do a 60-minute match type of thing. 4 months ago, you were defending your championship.
Hey man, that's my way of saying, hey, indie wrestling, step up your game. I ain't done anything in 4 months. First match back, 60 minutes with Freddie Ahai. That's step up, boys and girls. That's what it is, I guess. I mean, Sunday morning, I may think, man, that was the dumbest thing I've ever done in my life. But if it raises some money and if the match is as good as I think it's going to be, then it'll be worth it. So.
And just so everybody understands, this is actually going to be a fanless show, and it's just going to be you, Fred, and the ref, and maybe an announced team or no announced team.
There'll probably be a handful of people. There won't be fans per se, but there might be a handful of people because Fred is also doing a training seminar earlier on, before our match. So if guys or girls do the seminar, they're welcome. The number's limited, so there won't be more than 15, 20 people in there. But if people want to hang out and watch that do the seminar and make some noise, add a little bit of atmosphere, then I'm all for it. So, but yeah, it's no paid tickets for anybody. So.
And I'm going to ask again because I know you already answered this, but where can people watch that, find it, donate on it? I know that Twitch is probably going to have it, but I know YouTube Super Chat, I'm assuming, is the way to go for St. Louis on that.
Yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have links up to click on, but it's twitch.tv/journeypro and then youtube.com/St. Louis Anarchy. So it'll be at two different spots to check out. But yeah, they'll have links up the whole time that you can click and donate if you're feeling generous. Hopefully you are. Because like I said, me and Fred, we're not making one dime off this, and that's 100% fine. I don't want money off of this. I just wanted to try to do something that I think would be cool and helpful while the world is not normal. And and if this goes really well, then I'd be willing to do another one. So because who knows when wrestling part of the world is going to be anywhere near normal. So hopefully it does really well. We raise a lot of money and, people to have some live entertainment for a night that they have a real good time watching. So.
And to even go beyond just this, I do want to give you an opportunity to also promote yourself. where people can follow you on Twitter, even though right now with quarantine and a lot of other stuff going on, social media is not the greatest place to be on. But where can people find you on Twitter? Where can people find you if you have a Facebook page? Where can people pick up merchandise? Because I think you have a few shirts out, and that's a great way how to support people at this point. I don't know if you're on Instagram or if you got a website or anything else that you would like to push out there. Feel free to push it out right now.
Pretty much the best place to get me if you want to, chit chat or, tell me I suck or whatever, it's Twitter. Just twitter.com/Jeremy Wyatt and then the number 1. So Jeremy Wyatt 1. Yeah, and then Facebook, I kind of try to keep that just, regular life stuff. And then I have an Instagram as well. It's Jeremy.Wyatt in the number 4. So you can follow along at any of those 2 places.
Well, there you have it, everybody. And I'm just going to reiterate, definitely watch that show. And definitely, if you're watching that show, donate to it, because I don't think any donation is too small. And it's going to a great cause. And clearly, as you heard, Jeremy's not making any money off of it. It's for bragging rights. If you like Jeremy Wyatt, you like Fred Yehi, definitely do that. Also, another thing, and I don't know if there's going to be a hashtag involved with it, but definitely tweet out.
I'm sure they'll come up with one, yes.
Definitely tweet.
I haven't heard yet.
But definitely tweet out about it. I'm sure that it will be announced, informed, yelled at, or somehow it'll get out there, either by tweeted out by St. Louis or Journey Pro will do it and make sure you know it. But definitely tweet out about it, because those tweets really do help. It gets a lot of attention. It gets other people involved. And this is one of those things where I don't think any other wrestling shows are going on that night. So definitely check that out, as well as definitely follow Jeremy on Twitter, because it's a great way. And if you have extra money after you donate to that show and watch it, definitely consider buying a shirt from Jeremy or supporting him in any which way you choose, because it does go a long way in these times when wrestling is kind of all skitsy, for lack of a better word. So I would like to thank you for being on, because I've wanted to do this for a while also. I know that's a hard transition right there. Totally hard, but it's how we do things.
Hey, man. No, I appreciate the opportunity just to talk about it, and hopefully, some people watch this and, decide to check it out on Saturday. And like you said, I mean, no donation is too small. Me and Fred will gladly take anything anyone wants to offer, man. It's just, it's going to be fun. It's going to be good. And we just, we're trying to do something worthwhile, right, with the way things are right now. So, hopefully people help us out. So
there you go, everybody. Donate all the links. I'll put up all the links underneath this interview, as well as I'll be tweeting out about it at Pop Anime Comics. So definitely check out there as well, with all the links and all the information on that front. And check out St. Louis, I'm sure has information. You have information on your Twitter. Journey Pro has information on their Twitter. And I think a few other places have information as well. And if you just Google Wrestling Charity Show and look up Midwest, I'm sure it'll come up within Google at some point in the first page. So definitely check that out, everybody. And it's Saturday, 8:30, Twitch or YouTube. And watch it and donate.